We have another call on the line, I believe Gary from Bay County, Panama City. Gary, go ahead with your questions, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Howell and your esteemed colleague, Mr. Connors. Yes. He's wearing another tie other than orange.
That's right. He's got his shark tie on tonight. Thank you for noticing.
I'd like to know something about your uninsured motorist.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Connors is aware of that one. And stacking your policy.
Yes, and Mr. Starr, that's a good question. Uninsured motorists, Brian, you know, there's different variants of that. We talk about it a lot. But what are the different types of uninsured motorist coverage you can have and the pros and cons of going in different routes on that?
Well, there's two main types. One is stacking versus non-stacking. So like Ted, for instance, with his family, they have a few vehicles, him, his wife, his daughter. So let's pretend you have $10,000 in uninsured motorist coverage.
Correct.
If you have stacking in 3 vehicles, that turns into $30,000. Whereas if you have non-stacking, it's slightly cheaper, but the difference is basically negligible. Then you only have $10,000. That's the big thing. Now, state to state, it does vary, but that is it varies big time.
Big time. But more or less in the viewing
protects,
area, it's going to be a lot very similar. There's a lot of similarities in the stacking, especially between Florida and Alabama, but you can get limited to stacking only 3 vehicles in Alabama, whereas in Florida, you can stack as many as you have, so long as the insurance company's willing to sell you that many policies
the big thing
on the same policy or same vehicles.
The big thing is it protects you and your family in the event, or your passengers, whoever's in your vehicle. It protects you in the event the at-fault driver either doesn't have injury coverage, which in Florida you're not required to have, or doesn't have sufficient coverage. It is not expensive insurance, and if you guys live in Panama City, you see the crazy people who come down here sometimes. Occasionally, accidents do happen, and it basically protects you, your family, or anybody in your vehicle. That's the value.
Right, and the reality of the situation is you buy insurance to protect yourself from the catastrophic things that you cannot afford.
Or predict.
I would not buy insurance to replace this pen if I lose it. It's just not economically, it doesn't make sense. If you are in a traumatic motor vehicle accident, even if you have health insurance, the expenses, the downtime, all of the inconvenience are going to be way in excess of what most people can afford to bear personally. And so one of the biggest risks we do in any given day is get out there on these roads, especially with all of the tourists that we have come in, all of the road construction that we have. And we live, unfortunately, in a state where there is not mandatory bodily injury coverage. So the folks that are driving around are not required to carry coverage to protect you if they harm you. So what do we have to do? We have to take that into our own hands and make sure that we are properly protecting ourselves and our family, all of our loved ones. So it's very important insurance. It's so important that the state requires you to sign a form with your agent if you are going to reject that coverage.
There's no other coverage like that.
Well, the windstorm insurance is like that as well, because it is also extremely important. So you got to know when that's required. You need to look at it and make sure that it's right for your family.